Well, hey guys, I wanted to go live again. For some reason, I'm gonna going a live kick. And I did a video the other day about saying that I'm in a funk. Kind of been going through a challenge the last couple of years. Find myself in a funk. Audra, how are you doing? Was a little vulnerable yesterday, right? And letting you guys know I was in a funk and sharing that a little bit with you guys. And the reason why I wanted to go live again on a video is because, I really found after sharing my little, a couple things I want to talk about today. Number one, it was me being a little bit vulnerable yesterday, letting you know I'm in a funk. It was amazing the different connections. Because of that video, I was able to get the direct messages of other people letting me know that they've been in a funk for quite some time. And I think it's so interesting, guys. The title of this live video that I put is vulnerability, the connection, the bridge to connection. And I think one of the things that so many of us struggle with so much in our life, Brian, how you doing, man, is not being vulnerable. Kind of always showing our best side, if that makes sense, right? I mean, we do so much on social media. I'm guilty of it just like everybody else. We put our highlight reels on there. We put the pictures of us hanging out with the family. We put the pictures of us at the gym. We do this and that. And, it's basically a highlight reel. And I think often we're not vulnerable like we should be. When I shared that video the other day that I'm in a funk, it was just interesting how many other people that see, sometimes you think, and this was what I was thinking about a little bit in church, my second kind of point, or wherever I'm going with this whole video, I don't even know. But I was sitting at church today listening to the pastor, and he was talking about, something that he's gone through recently in the past 2, 3 months, 4 months, right? And then you start talking to other people, and you really begin to realize that everybody is struggling with something in their life. Everybody is going through some type of hardship. I don't really care who it is, right? Somebody is going through something. And often what we do way too much is we think that we're the only ones that are going through hardship, right? That we're the only ones that are struggling, because what we do so much and so well, I think what so many of us do so well is we hide. We hide those hard things that we're going through. We don't share. Thank you guys for the likes. That helps me a lot and encourage me when you guys like and heart and do all that stuff. We do such a good job as individuals of hiding those hardships. We're not vulnerable. Like I said, we always share just our highlight reels. And what I feel we need to understand, and what we need to begin to do, is when we're vulnerable, when we share those things. And I'm not saying go around and spill everything to everybody. That's not what I'm saying, because that's not wise. People could get hurt when you do that. And I'm not saying that you do it on social media all the time, right? Or anytime. But what I am saying is you have to learn, I have to learn, we all have to learn, I feel, to be more vulnerable to others. Because when we're more vulnerable to others, we allow others to be vulnerable with us. And if we always are coming across like everything is perfect and everything is going well in our life and there's no hardships and it's not tough, okay, and everything is going well, and it's not, right? Because listen, one of the things that I'm finding out and discovering more in life is if you have a really good day, and this is, I don't know if I'm the only one, if you have a really good day where everything works perfectly, that's a rarity in itself. It's crazy. It's crazy. We're all having things we got to work on in our relationships, right? We really do. I don't know of any marriage that isn't a struggle. I don't know of any relationship that isn't a struggle. Parenting, if we got kids, oh my gosh, it's incredibly hard, right? Right? If we get a good day at a certain age where they're good for 3, 4, or 5 hours, then it's great, right? But most of the time it's a struggle. Most of the time there's hardships. When they're younger, there's those certain things that we go through, right? Where we feel we're not a good parent. We feel we're not doing the things we need to do. We don't know if we're raising them correctly. And then we get in the teen years where it gets harder. They get attitude. And then you really start to question yourself if you're doing any good, right? And it's hard. It's emotional because you care for your kids. You care. And sometimes what we do is we want to come across as just the perfect parent, that we have everything down, that everything's going well, and our kids are so great, and there's no struggles, there's no hardship at homes. And listen, A lot of times that's a big BS. It's BS. So if we can learn to be vulnerable with people, if we can learn to communicate, a question I was thinking about today as I was sitting in church too is a great question to ask somebody if you can build that rapport with them is what's really hard in your life that you're having trouble with? What's going on in your life that's been a real struggle? And having that relationship that you can then open up and you can share. Not only is just sharing your wins, right? Because so much we say, oh yeah, our life's going good and busy and work's going good and yeah, just busy with sports and this whole COVID thing. A lot of times it's there's something deep inside of us that we all are struggling with. And wouldn't it be nice if you had a relationship with somebody and somebody had a relationship with you where you can say, you know what, it's not going well. This is what's going on with my kids, and it's hard. It's a challenge, and I'm really questioning myself as a parent. I'm questioning myself as this if I raised them right, and it's sad. You know what? I cried for an hour yesterday about it. Or what if you're vulnerable enough to say, you know what? My marriage isn't going well. It's on the rocks. I don't even know if it's going to make it. I don't even know. It's hard. It's a challenge. It's a challenge. All these different things, right? Work. Well, no, work is, we have to be aware and we have to understand more that if we want to truly be connected to others, right, then we have to learn to be more vulnerable. And vulnerability is such a courageous act. It really is. And we have to understand that we don't always have to put, more often than not, maybe not put our best foot forward if that makes sense, right? I don't know if that did make sense, but you know what I'm saying. So, what I want to understand or what I want to tell you, and then I'll end this video, is I thought it was wonderful yesterday when I let you know that I'm in a funk. That things aren't going the way that I would like them to go, right? It just is what it is. Sometimes I think we get to a certain point in life that my pastor always says that you realize your ship's not coming in. It just isn't. We begin to understand a little bit of the idea of futility. And we truly begin to understand that when we seek anything outside for our comfort, right? For our pleasure, for whatever it is, it's fleeting. It's not. It's fleeting. It's gone. It doesn't satisfy. And we begin to understand that maybe just a little bit more in our life as we get older. Hopefully we begin to understand that things are futile. You know how it is. You get the new car, you get the new truck, it's cool, and then 5, 6, 8 months later, you're like, it's nice, but I think that. Or you get a TV, you get a 65-inch TV, and then you go to, Target the next week, and they got the 75 inches at the same price, and you're like, ooh, maybe that 75-inch, whatever it may be, right? We always try to look for other things to comfort, to satisfy, whether that's pornography, drugs, certain addictions, just scrolling on Facebook and Instagram just to escape, to get away. And we start to begin and we start to realize a little bit that life is a challenge. And really understanding that what satisfies, okay, is I feel our relationship with God and having that intimacy with God, and then having that intimacy and that vulnerability with the people that are the closest to us. That's really what matters, and that's really what satisfies. But with that, we have to learn to be vulnerable. We have to learn to be vulnerable, I feel, although I feel God is all-knowing and everything, right? We have to learn to write down and tell God exactly how we're feeling. Be pissed off, be angry, be upset, communicate, journal, whatever it may be. And we have to be able to communicate with those that are closest to us. Those that are closest to us. We have to be vulnerable with them. One of the worst things that we can do is we can keep things inside. We can keep it deep down inside, and we don't share and we don't communicate, right? And I have to say, guys, that's what I did for 37 years. I had a pretty tough childhood, to say the least. There was different things. I won't get all into it in this video. I know I'm talking about being vulnerable, but there were some things that happened to me that should have never happened to anybody. There are some things that I've seen in my first 18 years of my life that I never should have seen. That were just horrid and terrible. And the things that I went through, the things that I saw was not good, and the things that happened to me were not good. And what I did was, for so many years, is you try to numb that out, and you're not vulnerable, right? As I talked about a little bit before, maybe you put your best foot forward, right? And you say, oh, I'm good, everything's good, and you just keep working, you keep hustling, you keep growing, you keep, trying to be more successful, right? The more success, go after that. And then you realize if you don't deal with the things that have in the past, if you're maybe not comfortable with being 100% vulnerable, right, with the people that are closest to you. I'm not saying you go out there and you just preach everything, you just tell everybody everything and spill it all out to everybody. I'm not saying that. But you got to have at least 3 or 4 people in your life that you can do that with. You got to have those people that you can communicate and be vulnerable with and share those things with. So I guess that's it, guys. But one of the things I just want to know, and I'll end it here because I could keep going and going and going, is vulnerability that creates more people's ability to be vulnerable with you. Vulnerability is the bridge to connection. If you want to connect with people, you have to be vulnerable with them. And when I did that video the other day, I'll end with this, what I thought was so beautiful. I had so many people direct message me and communicate with me and say, you know what, Damon? Gosh, the last 2 years of my life have been hard. It's been a challenge. Can we get together? Can we talk about it? Right? It's connection. It's connection. And the interesting thing about it, if you were to look at these people's social media feeds, just like if you look at mine, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. You think everything's good, right? So I thought it was great the other day how those people were reaching out to me in direct messaging and being vulnerable with me as well. So you guys have an awesome day. Bye. Hey, share the video if you think this helps. Share it. Bye, guys.